South Carolina homeowners, if you have a power meter like this on the side of your house, you can qualify to erase.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Can we get a 5x5 in the chat? I know we're going to be about a 30-second delay because I said it that way, but we are live, and it's been a minute. It's been a week since the last Beyond the Headlines, and tonight's topic, my friends, before I even say the topic, you need to go ahead and hit the like button. You need to go ahead and subscribe to True Reporting. You need to subscribe to McAllister TV. And my friends, also share this on all social media. Why don't we pack the house? We usually have about 15 to 2,000 people in here. Let's do this every single time, because tonight is a special event. We need to, guys, we're going to be talking about the Nazi Bell time machine. You might not even know what that is, but I guarantee you tonight, you're going to be talking about this for a couple days, because this is interesting, my friends. So we are 5x5, and David Cook from the UK, my friend, welcome from abroad. Linda, also, it's good to have you aboard. It's good to have you on another episode of Beyond the Headlines. Lines. Yes.
Thank you, Thomas. And we always have such a good time. We were talking about this on the phone because for some reason I had it in my head that it was 8 o'clock.
Sure.
But if you notice, like, I'm here.
Yeah, we talk. We communicate.
And so we called, and then he was like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "I thought it was at 8." And so now I'm all ready. But Thomas, I was wondering what happened on Daddy Day.
Oh, well, yes, I did have a Daddy Day. Thus the reason that we have Beyond the Headlines on Fridays and Sundays. Every other Friday, every other Sunday, because my son Charles comes in. We played virtual reality at the house. We went out to eat. I took him to a great candy store, which is, if you've seen the movie Home Alone 2, it's like a giant building, and it's just like, it's 2 floors of like candy and toys and stuff. I took him there. I said, wow. Listen, I said, here's your bag. I gave him a bag, and then I just said, go around the store and get whatever you want. So he went around the store, he got whatever he wanted. We had a really good time. We connected well. So the weather has been really nice here. He missed another snow day. He got to enjoy the first snow day, but this snow day he missed it by a couple hours, and you know, all in all, a great time. So thank you for asking how Daddy Day was, Linda. I appreciate it.
I wanted to make a quick announcement.
Yes.
I've been working on my Antarctica video all day, and because I thought I had some extra time, it just so happens I was just rendering it when we talked, and I'm uploading it now. So I'll be uploading it while we're doing this. So if you see me over here, I'm like just making sure it gets uploaded. And
You're
everything.
fine. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I know. We got a little confused about when we're going live, but that's okay because we're new to the new schedule, and that's okay. But hey, we may be new to the new schedule and maybe a little confusing, but we're not new to be on the headlines, and we stay on top of things, and we're going to give you guys a great show. And Linda brought this to my attention, and I knew a little bit about this, and I was like, this is a good topic. So we have over 800 people in the chat right now. I should be seeing 800 likes. You know, and if you guys want to donate to the channel and support it, you can do so going through PayPal, Patreon. You can hit that super chat down below. I would greatly appreciate it. It does help out since I don't go 7 days a week like Red Pill. I do the 5 days a week, and Fridays are extremely special because I bring in one of my best friends, Linda, to talk about things that we usually don't get to talk about, which makes Beyond the Headlines so special for each and every one of us. So, Linda, if you want to take control of this and let everyone know what in the world is the Nazi Bell time machine, we need to get into this.
Okay, so this is why I think this is so interesting. Now, when I first learned about the Nazi Bell, I learned about it through the Vril Maidens.
Sure.
Remember, we did a Beyond the Headlines about the Vril Maidens, who claimed that the Vril Society was a society in Germany, and Hitler and all of them were members of the Vril Society. These women grew their hair very long to the floor, and they believed that they were working with what they called ether. And that has, at this point, it's coming out that this ether stream that the Vril women talk about is real. I mean, it's more physics than what we know.
Sure.
They know, they had secret knowledge about this ether. And so these women supposedly channeled spirits. Personally, knowing what I know now about consciousnesses being on chips and stuff, I'm wondering if they weren't actually trying to channel that, you know, trying to somehow activate some sort of old ones or something that were somewhere. In any event, they channeled information and they built these spaceships that worked.
Sure.
Based on the information that these Vril women. Now, the information led them to Antarctica, but they have always been trying to get to Antarctica. And I think this is ancient knowledge that they actually, by this breeding program, you know how they're inbreeding and all that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because the DNA has memory.
Yes.
Okay. And so when they inbreed like that, they carry the memories of their ancestors with them. So it's like they have this knowledge and they carry on this search.
Right.
So they were searching for the lost city of Atlantis and the Spear of Destiny, the Holy Spear of Destiny, and all of this stuff that they believe had power. And when you listen to the ley line information and all of that stuff, it's all ancient knowledge. They knew what they were doing. So whether they channeled, well, they claim they channeled ETs, but whether whoever they channeled, they built these ships. Now the Bell, I believe it was also a hovercraft, but in my Antarctica research, I did find out it's a time travel device. And as with all of this technology, when you're dealing with, or at least when it seems like that's all they're admitting to is that they got the information from the Vril Maidens. But I'm sure they didn't just go to Antarctica based on that. You know, I'm sure all these expeditions to Antarctica have some kind of ancient knowledge that they contain inside of their family bloodlines. And at that point, I think even in the 14, the 15, the 1600s, there was a lot of these people on the earth, And they were making trips to the North and South Pole looking for all of this stuff. So to make a long story short, when they did go to Antarctica, they found more stuff. Whether they back engineered the technology then from what they found in Antarctica, but apparently they built out what they found in Antarctica. And it's still built out today. And there is supposedly a breakaway civilization down there.
Right.
And what that came out of it was they had the Foo Fighters, I think, the little orbs that went around and shot. And those came out in 1943 in World War II. And the Americans didn't know what the hell they were.
No.
And so they had this stuff early on. And they were also they occupied these spaces, already built underground spaces in Antarctica from this ancient civilization, and they built them out. And according to some people, I mean, it's unbelievable what they have down there.
Sure.
That Nazi Bell thing, that is flawed technology. It is not perfect technology.
No.
So when they're doing this stuff, trying to time travel and stuff, it's unlocking their DNA. In other words, they can't have their DNA all together and do this. There's an energy process which separates the DNA. And they do this in transporting too, when they use the jump pads and stuff.
Right. Yeah. So what you mean by transporting, you mean by like they're, jumping timelines and stuff through these jump pads.
Like the Sumerian jump pads and stuff.
Sure.
And so if they're transporting themselves, and look, these MK Ultra victims, that's what the elite do now. They don't even bother to get on a plane or anything. They just transport. But what happens is you have to unlock your DNA in order to do that. The technology is not, the problems happen when it comes back.
What do you mean when it comes back?
Like when you get to where you're supposed to be and the DNA finds itself and tries to lock back in so that you're a whole person again.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't come all the way. You're not you lose a little bit the more you do this. And this comes from the older technology, but these people are elite. They've been using it for a long time.
Oh yeah. You think of, we're talking about, you say this is a flawed, science, where did they get this science from? Right. Why were the Nazis so far advanced than the Americans? You talk about Admiral Byrd and you talk about Hollow Earth and you talk about these, Admiral Byrd led a fleet to Antarctica, and then when they get to Antarctica, you have these ships coming up out of Antarctica, out of the ground that were not light years, but hundreds and hundreds of years in progression of advancement of what we had at the time. So the first thing that comes to mind is, well, where do they get this advancements from? And then we look here at the Bell craft created by Nazi Germany. And we've delved into this. We've looked into what this group of people, what Adolf Hitler had, who these people had contact with. They had people who were had psychic phenomenon that would touch base with people that were, or entities that were of other dimensions. This is a real thing. People say, well, that's crazy, but it's not crazy.
No.
Because if you just build something that is hundreds of years in advancement, there has to be something to that. You can't just say, well, they were smarter. Well, I mean, how much smarter can people be than across the plane? It's just across the planet. There's not that much of a leap and bound that you're hundreds and hundreds of years in advancement of technology. It's unheard of.
And let me throw this in the mix. In the video that I just did that goes into the history of Antarctica, talking about, the Queen Maud Land, that's a big place in Antarctica, Queen Maud Land, right?
Okay.
That apparently It was named after Victoria, Queen Victoria, who was known for drinking blood from skulls.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a definitely occult reference when it comes to Antarctica. Look at who went to Antarctica. Let's just fast forward for a minute. You can't go there. You'll get shot.
Right. It's a no-fly zone.
What's that all about? And also, who went there on election day? John Kerry. Skull and Bones.
John Kerry's been there. John McCain's been there. John Brennan's been there. These people have been there. James Clapper has been there. If you look into who's been there, George W. Bush has been there. Many people have been there, but why can't we go there, right? There's something to this. But if you guys don't know what we're talking about, it said, did Adolf, who, create UFO-type craft? It says Hitler wanted the best scientists and engineers at his disposal, always looking for the next. And I'll bring this so you guys can read along with me. And I'll go ahead and share this with Linda so you guys can figure out, what are these guys talking about today? Because there's a lot of information that we've got to get to the bottom of. So let me go ahead and do this. Booyah. So again, my friends, as you can see here, most sophisticated weapon in its quest for absolute power. They were always looking for the next sophisticated weapon. One craft in particular was thought to have harnessed the power of time-space manipulation. Although any records of proof of this craft have yet to be found. Well, of course, once they find something, you're telling me that these energies and this technology and these cures, they've been suppressed. They've been suppressed from us. We're plebs. We're slaves. We're paying taxes. There's two different civilizations. You have one civilization that is multi-trillionaires like the Queen or like the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers. And then you have the billionaire class. You could think of Saudi Arabia. You could think of, Bill Gates and Elon Musk, so on and so forth. And then you come down a little bit, you see Hollywood. And then below Hollywood, then you see the plebs. These people that are just, it's this day-to-day life where we pay taxes to with paper money that has pyramids and such on it. That is just garbage. Like, we don't want to be a part of this. So, and we don't get this information. If they divulge this information to us, then what happens? Well, we revolt, we rise, and we take over what they've taken from us. Simple as that.
I think the information is more disturbing than they could ever let us know. I really believe they've been doing this for thousands, maybe even years.
Sure.
And this place, Antarctica, where it is under the ice, I think that's been around for thousands. I think there was an ancient high-tech civilization frozen up under there. They did find it. They were looking for it. They knew about it through their own DNA or through their family. You know how they have that hive mind thing?
Sure. Yes.
And let me also add this other thing. Talking about cloning and AIs and stuff. They've been doing that stuff for I think even like before, I used to think the 20s, but I think now even before them, they've been doing it. But you remember, what's his face? Mengele was he was studying twins, and he was leaving whole towns of twins, in Venezuela and all these countries in the South America, because they were hiding out there. And I guess there was a whole Nazi German colony in South America after the war, and they just continued on with what they were doing. And I believe there was underground tunnels and stuff that went right into China Lake and all these other places, where they eventually ended up here under Operation Paperclip, and they just continued doing what they've been doing. And that's why John Kerry is out there in Antarctica. It started in Antarctica in like the 1400s, and it's ending in Antarctica.
Sure.
John Kerry up here at the election, and they've cordoned the whole dang thing off. You'll get shot if you go up there.
It's a no-fly zone. And I want to say real quick, thank you to David Hammer for the super chat. And Thrifty Guy McGee says, thank you for the super chat, by the way, Thrifty Guy. He says, I have a feeling the bell has a lot to a lot to do with Project Looking Glass. So yes, we could definitely go that direction. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, this thing was chained down. Like, it was chained down. I don't think it was a craft. I think this was more like an interdimensional way of travel. I think you get into it, and I think that you know, this is a way for them to connect with these 4D, 5D beings. If you don't know, there are, you know, 12 dimensions. We are on the 3D plane. We're on the third dimension. You know, you have lower entities who are in the second dimension. You could call those demons that you see in movies like, you know, I don't know, The Conjuring or something like that. These hauntings and stuff are 2D beings. We're 3D, so they're able to kind of work their way into it, and then they manipulate us to bring them in and say, hey, you know what, I'm a long lost relative, and then you bring them into the 3D. Well, if you think about this, if interdimensional travel with Nazi Germany, where are they getting this information from? Well, maybe through these crafts, interdimensional travel, they come in contact with 4D, 5D beings, thus given information to say, hey, you know, we'll advance your civilization. Maybe you guys take over the planet. But, you know, we can go down that rabbit hole when we get there. Well, what do you think about all that, Linda? What do you think? Well, go ahead and say what you need to say. Go for it.
Let's get crazy.
Okay, I would like that.
Okay, so what if I'm the daughter of a cop, you know?
Sure.
And when a cop goes to the scene of a crime and it looks like somebody committed suicide, they don't just automatically rule it as suicide. They go, what if? What if the wife killed the husband and made it look like a suicide? They got to check out all these possibilities. So I ask, what if? What if, this goes back to the mystery schools, what if some of the original priests are still, I want to say alive, but in bodies that are not suitable for up here and have been degraded through all of this tech over thousands and thousands of years. Of course, I believe they've messed with the timeline, our timeline. So it's hard to even say thousands and thousands of years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because who knows? I mean, who really?
So you think that they've darkened our timeline to say, well, they're trying to bring, I don't know if you want to say it in this way, like they brought hell on earth?
Well, I think they've messed with the timeline in a lot of different ways. Like, I think there's been other times in history where people almost woke up and they were able to bend the timeline or whatever they do. I don't really know what they do. I just know they're doing it.
Right. It's beyond our comprehension.
But I do know they're doing it, and they've been doing it for a long time, and it's apparently possible.
Right.
According to scientists, people who know. So that people have almost woken up, and they somehow messed with the timeline. And what the thing is, what's happening now is they're coming out and telling us more and more what they're doing, because they're afraid of what the universe is going to do back because how they are messing up the balance of the universe, the whole timeline and everything. They're messing everything up. And there's some people that think that they want us to stop them. That's like, it's a psychological thing where they're putting the truth out there in movies and stuff because they want us to stop them before they reach a point of no return. But we're stopping them. So, and I've also heard that you can't stop them with weapons. You can't stop them the only way you can stop them is by waking up and not being a part of this system.
Right. And then the system collapses.
Yeah.
I get that. And it's like, so my question to you is, do you think that they were talking to these interdimensional higher beings to get this information, to get this technology?
I do. And I think there's portals open all over the place. And I think other things have come in. I think there's a lot of different dimensions and a lot of things have come in. And I think we're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff because if you want to look at it this way, we were supposed to be in charge of this place, right? And we just weren't paying attention. We got distracted and they basically snuck in and lied to us. They've been lying to us. Think about this. This is the first time as a society that we know of that we have ever even been aware of these creatures, whatever
Right.
they are. I mean, if they're mutated people, okay, but they're subhumans by this point because they've been messing around with so many things that they're not supposed to be messing around with.
So if we fast forward to a timeline, let's say, or to a time in history as present day, do you think that all countries, all these powerhouses like Russia, China, Germany, Europe, Canada, Mexico, do you think that these people, do you think that they have this technology now? Or do you think that that technology had been, scrapped? And now there's only a certain amount of people that have this.
I think they all have it, but only the elite, only the leaders. I think at a certain point, it's all them. I think that's why they're so upset about our dearly beloved president coming in. He's not one of them. He's not going to play their game. He's part of the freedom movement, and they're all connected. It's like they're all connected, like in Hollywood, in the medical field, in the church, in the hospitals, in television, in radio, in films, in you name it. They are everywhere. In Canada, in Ireland, in Scotland, you've got your certain two tiers.
Yeah. I like to think of it as two civilizations. We have nothing in common with them. They have nothing in common with us. And it's just like you see like a lower tier of that upper tier. You see Hollywood. They can't connect with us. They don't even know anything about politics. And then Brad Pitt's over here yapping at me, talking about, hey, you should think this way. Well, you don't even know anything. You're pretending to be somebody you're not. You're an actor. You're literally pretending to be a character like a little kid. It's just off-putting to me. But,
But is that really Brad Pitt?
We can go down. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Saying, you've got a lot of options here, like it's like these people, they've been just messing with so much stuff that you have all of these options to think about. They're not going to let anybody in Hollywood have any power at all unless they can control them. They're not going to do that. They have control over that. Why would they let somebody be famous that isn't a part of their whole plan?
I like this. Go ahead.
I just want to introduce this one last thing. This idea of plasma-based AI, okay? This is supposedly what they have now, plasma-based AI. So you think about it, a plasma screen, right? And you push on it and it's soft, but still it has all that all of those, whatever makes the picture, is in there.
Right.
And so they have plasma-based AI, which is nanotechnology, right? It lives in plasma. So when you breathe in, this technology goes into your body and it begins to grow. Now, what feeds it is negative, whatever the chemicals are that we release in our body when we're angry, sad, all of these things, anxious, negative emotions. This AI feeds off of it and grows. And it's a plasma-based AI that is able to pick up signals. Okay? So think about this. Well, I think what you have in Antarctica is all of these people who have a hive mind. And it's even been made more hive with this plasma-based AI. And they're trying to infect us with it so that they can then mind control us and get us to become part of their hive mind. Is that too crazy?
No, I don't find that crazy at all. Okay. I find that to be actually legitimate. That people need to really look into that. I wanted to show you this. I wanted to kind of get back on to what we're talking about again. Did Adolf, Nazi Bell's secret technology, find a way of defying gravity? A top secret technology developed by the Nazis in the closing stages of the war to granted Hitler's forces that the capacity to covertly travel into space has been claimed. It says here the mysterious Nazi Bell is said to have allowed the Third Reich to visit the moon, Mars, and even distant star systems by making use of an unexplainable gravity-defying propulsion system, according to the conspiracy theory. We already know that these zero gravity crafts are around. A lot of, I mean, just think of, POTUS is talking about, hey, we have Space Force and so on. We're going to go to Mars. Like there's been concepts of going to Mars, but now it's just like, boom, he comes in the presidency. We open up the Space Force and he's like, well, we're going to go to Mars. It's crazy. Bearaway SF, thank you for the super chat. He says, great show. P.S. Linda, your red pill living ads are simply amazing. I'm waiting on Brennan ad with a full drag and vowel enunciation.
With a pumpkin purse.
With a pumpkin purse.
Yes.
He's a waste. Thank you so much for that super chat, Bearaway SF. Again, yeah, so it says here, and a documentary has also suggested the anti-gravity technology allegedly captured and tested by the United States after the war. Well, would you look at that? I think that reminds me of Project Paperclip. Was the UFO people, in quote, UFO people say they saw in 1947 a Roswell incident? Hitler is also said to have had ordered the development of the technology as part of a secret Nazi space program. Well, we have Space Force, and it continues to say, discussing the history behind the theory this week, John Goforth and Brent Hand from the Hysteria 51 podcast said, as the walls begin to close in, Hitler puts even more resources into his Wunderwaffe of wonder weapons. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation here that did they create a time machine? I
think that now maybe it did have some anti-gravity capabilities. That was the first thing I read about it. Okay. But I think you're right. I think it was an interdimensional thing. And I think it was designed to be an interdimensional thing, not a hovercraft, because they had another one that was a hovercraft, and then they had the Foo Fighters. So they had all different kinds of technology. And when Admiral Byrd went out there on Operation High Jump, it was supposedly going to be some kind of, they covered it up by saying, they were going to go take mineral samples or whatever. But they took all this military equipment, and ships and arsenals and, all these military craft went out there. So obviously it wasn't, they don't need all that stuff to look for minerals. So, but what happened was they were in the water, and this is what I read about what happened. And supposedly there's underground entrances into these underground, through the water, underneath the ice. There's an underwater entrances into these German Nazi bases. And what happened was they didn't know they went there to go get Hitler and anybody that they could find and get them out. And these craft started coming out of the water, okay? These saucer craft. And they started in unison, or actually in a pattern of going up and down and up and down. And they started agitating the water like a giant washing machine. And the boats were like tipping over and stuff. They had to turn around to go back. Then they had these Foo Fighters that came in, these orbs that were traveling at lightning speeds and going all around and shooting them with rays. So while these other craft agitated the water and the ships were like careening all over the place, and some of them overturned, people died and lost their lives there. They had to turn around and go back. And that's when he came back and said, if we were to fight the war today, we'd lose. I mean, in a nutshell, that's what he said. He made some statement about that they had craft that could go from one end of the globe to the other in seconds.
Right.
And of course, they've suppressed he did a whole interview in Brazil or someplace for a Brazilian newspaper, some South American newspaper. And he went into detail about this, and they've suppressed it.
Right. No, of course they're going to suppress it. They don't, like I said at the beginning of the beginning of the show, is like they can't leak this to the American people. They can't even leak this to the people worldwide. But it's like, so you go back to the 1940s and you're thinking of, Hitler, and you're thinking of people you're trying to get this advanced technology, and they want to go to They want to go to the moon. They want to go to Mars, and then I saw in the chat, obviously just a minute ago, is like, what about colonization on Mars? Why the hell would you want to go to Mars, right? There's something there. I mean, just to say you went there, no. I don't think it's that. And I don't think this craft was made to go to the moon or go to Mars. I think this is more of like way out of our like mindset of like maybe even interdimensional travel. But it could be so. Maybe I think it's both. I think they were using different crafts. Maybe one to go to planet by planet, maybe colonizing them. And a lot of people speculate what the hell is even the moon that we see today. What's on Mars? Why do we need to go to Mars? Why was Space Force created? There's a theory out there right now that Space Force was created to actually go save people who were enslaved and colonized on Mars. So, I mean, could that be a possibility? Absolutely.
I just got through, and don't watch it now. Wait until after this is over.
Sure.
And this Antarctica video, and I didn't know this, but the Nazis took slaves down there with them.
Oh, sure. They got to have people to do their hard labor and whatever else. So experimentations.
Still there. And I really believe Mengele and a lot of these people Mengele was at the forefront of the cloning. And this cloning technology, that's another thing. The cloning technology is flawed. So you've got them doing cloning, body jumping and stuff to live forever. But what they're doing is they're living in a body, and when they get close to, they feel like they're gonna, they need to do it, they do it. But some of them are stuck in old technology, like the technology has surpassed them. They can't go any further.
Right.
And a lot of problems have erupted. And so it's looking like some of these people who they've just gone as far as they can go with it, and the technology has messed up. Not only that, these people live off negativity. They get off on it. They love killing. They love drinking blood. They love scaring kids. They love doing all this stuff. They love it. They thrive off of it. They vibrate.
Well, they get something from it. They're not doing it just to do it.
So they are actually, they have things like that they can hook themselves into where they can experience all these horrible things, like killing people and stuff. And they feed off that. And that changes their DNA too. It makes it more lower dimensional. It brings it down. Yeah.
Brings down your vibration. I get that.
Yeah.
I do. I get that. Guys, I know there's a ton of people. There's over 2,000 people watching right now. If you want to ask a question so that I can see it, you could super chat it, even $1 or $2, and I can read it and ask Linda the question, or I can answer the question, whichever you prefer. And also hit that like button. If there's 2,000 people with 900 likes, we need to get to 2,000. Support the channel, support what we're doing here. I would really appreciate it, because in the second hour of this show, we do call-ins. So show your love if you can. This is a really interesting topic that a lot of people don't really know about. People have their speculations, but there's actually a good bit of information out there about this. And the fact that we're talking about more so of interdimensional travel, I mean, it's out there, right? It's out there. I think that our president, I think that these capabilities from other countries of doing, even China. I mean, I believe that there's a war on planet Earth, and I believe that there is a war in our solar system about all of this. I believe that we're fighting, taking technology. There's a reason. Don't be naive. Don't be naive, people. There's a reason for Space Force. It's not satellite warfare. It's not that, they're going to shoot an EMP into the sky and then it's going to be a blackout effect. No, there's something to this that goes a lot deeper that I don't think our mindsets can get to. So
think about this.
Yeah.
Space Force. Space. It didn't say outer Space Force. It said Space Force. There's space under the ground that needs to be dealt with.
That too.
Underground spaces that need to be dealt with. So Space Force, it doesn't say outer Space Force. It says Space Force. So I take that as meaning going into spaces that need to be, we need to protect ourselves, against these things. And I do think that what we're talking about is a lot of what is down there in Antarctica. Still, these people exist, like even people, celebrities like Michael Jackson or like Mengele, who's done so many things but they just can't be up here anymore. And if you notice, they're making people look freakier and freakier in Hollywood, and like those twins that look like monsters and stuff, and they're walking around. It's almost like they're trying to get ugly people up, because I keep asking the question, why do they have to be so ugly? It's almost like they're trying to fill the world with freaky, ugly people so that these things can come up.
Right, yeah. I mean, I understand that. Like, it's, right. So you're saying that they fill the, the upper, like the upper crest, like we'll just say like the walking area or whatever you need to say of Earth with uglier people, these freaks, so that we get adjusted to it. I could see that. So it's like,
well, look what they did in Hollywood with these androgynes. They made jackets with great big shoulders on them for women that they wore all around the 1940s. Well, then everybody has big shoulders, so you don't really notice the trannies as much,
right? That makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense.
But they also have the big comic book hair, that it's a distraction from the masculine features.
Right. I want to get back to the colonizing of Mars, and just like we hear about this. So this is mainstream news where they're like, hey, one of the things we need to do in the future because of we have climate change and so on and so forth, and the ice caps are melting. But it's like when this hits mainstream news, which I've seen it on CNN, MSNBC, I've seen it on Fox. They talk about, well, we need to colonize Mars, and it's like, it's almost like they're trying to get into our mindset that we should be normalized, thinking that, hey, you know what, that might be a good idea. But it's like, what if what I'm saying is that they're just saying, like, we need to get used to the idea that there are definitely people on Mars, and that why the hell are they there? Why are they even there?
Well, all the MK Ultra victims and a lot of scientists are saying they don't get in a spaceship and go there.
Right.
They use the jump pads and stuff to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Back. That's what they say. They don't fly off to Mars. They go interdimensionally or somehow like that. I don't really know. Not interdimensional. Mm-hmm. That was probably the wrong word, but they use those jump pads. And they transport themselves to Mars. And a lot of the victims say they've been to Mars, but then I've also heard that they we don't even know all the places there are on Earth. There's lots of land masses and stuff that we don't know anything about. And plus, I often wonder if they didn't trick a lot of these MK Ultra victims into thinking that they've been to Mars, and some of these military people into thinking that they have been to Mars. But really, they just went to Antarctica or someplace like that. You know what I'm saying? Someplace that nobody knows of, that's weird looking, a little bit different looking. And they said, okay, you're on Mars. I don't know. But there is objects on Mars, and there's structures on Mars that people have seen.
Right. We've all, I'm just kind of going through like DuckDuckGo. I'm just looking up stuff like colonizing on Mars, victims of colonizing on Mars. And the first thing that comes up, which is very strange, is Ron Howard creating visions of a future Mars colony. Why the hell would he, he's on, I mean, I get it. He's making like a TV show, the TV series Mars, envisions how a pioneer human settlement might function on the red planet. I mean, who's giving him this information, right? It's like, obviously, we all know how, indoctrinated Hollywood is. And it says to mark the second season of the television series Mars, which I've never seen, guys. If you've seen it, definitely call in and talk about it. Hollywood director Ron Howard talked to the BBC about creating a realistic depiction of the first human colonies on the Red Planet. Why are we talking about this? Like, if it doesn't exist, it's like, you know, I understand like fantasy, but it's like, come on, like, I think they're depicting this to us because it's a real thing. I think that you have movies like The Conjuring where you have entities inside a house, they possess people. We know that to be real. But a lot of people outside of these people, outside of the group we have here today, the people that tune into both our podcasts and to a lot of other podcasts on this movement, they think of this is just a horror movie. No, this really can't happen. So it's like we're depicting a TV show about colonization on Mars. Like, this is so far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. It's like a real thing that people apparently have been enslaved on Mars. And that you see people like, I don't like to say his name too much, but I mean, the guy knows a majority of what he's talking about. Is he giving out disinformation also? Yeah. But Alex Jones has talked about this. You have Corey Good talk about this. You have David Wilcock talk about this. Right, that's his name, right? David Wilcock? Is that his name?
The value, I think, to that is
William Tompkins.
We know there's something going on there because Alex Jones is talking about it. David Wilcox is talking about. They're trying to get their thing out first.
Right.
You know, Thomas, it reminds me of the deep fake thing. Okay. We know there's a deep fake video. We know there's a real video of these people, and especially Smelly Pants Clinton.
Yeah, with Uma.
We know that. Okay. So what are they doing? They're out there talking about deep fakes. Just like we know there's something going on Mars. What are they doing? They're sending out David Wilcock. They're sending out Alex Jones. That, to me, verifies there's definitely something going on. They don't want us to know what it is. And they're sending these people out to get to us first so that they can spin it the way they want to. And then afterwards, when the truth comes out, they always do the same thing. No. That's a conspiracy theory. We already told you what was going on there, you know.
Sure. You know, yeah. It's like they blur the lines where we're like, we're living in this society. We're living in a society where we're like, we go to a 9-to-5 job. We come home, we eat dinner, we go to bed, we go back to the 9-to-5 job. This is what we do. So it's like, it enables us to think outside the box. It's perfect. Like, indoctrination is perfect. Because if you think about it, you know, who created the word conspiracy theorist? Well, the CIA did, right? So it's like, if you get outside of that box that they've created, this reality that they've created, you're considered crazy. It's just complete brainwashing. There's nothing else to it. So when people say, you know, when people get a little twisted and they're like, hey, you know, you're a nutbag for saying that there's already colonization on Mars. You know, you're crazy to think that the Die Glocke, which is the Nazi time machine, the bell-shaped time machine, you're crazy to think that that's interdimensional. Oh, yeah. Really? Like, why is that crazy? Just because, you know, we haven't seen it, right?
Also, I'm looking at this right now. You have to get through all of the stories where it says it's a hovercraft or whatever, an anti-gravity hovercraft.
Yeah.
To get to the ones that talk about the time travel and the interdimensional aspects of this thing. And they already had a lot of other craft. I really believe it was an interdimensional tool because it was something that I put in my Antarctic, and they briefly mention it. And I was going to get into this in another video because I really would like to dig and find out. You're going to get two versions, you know, because they don't want us to know what this thing is. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think the interdimensional part is so important. I think these portals and all these energy focal points, this all goes back to the mystery school. The only thing that's different is there's high tech merged with the ancient mystery schools. These people keep popping up. They've got hive mind. I think they've got AI. You know, I think at this point, they're probably, who knows, you know, how much of them is not this plasma-based AI stuff that is flowing through their veins or whatever, and they're just robots, you know, they're just being, and they're it's like Legion almost, right? It's
right.
like It's like they've all got the same thoughts and ideas and this hive mentality where they all know what each one is going to do, and they follow. They have the same ideas and same thoughts. And if you going through this right now that we're going through, and this is to everybody, if you're at home and you find yourself just getting furious and triggered by these people, I think a lot of it could be a program that,
Oh, sure.
and that I've heard a lot of people say this, the only way to stop it is to turn it off, that we have the power to turn it off. We can turn that off. All we have to do is notice it and stop and say, hey, wait a minute, that's a program. And just sit there and breathe and get your metabolism back to where you're not feeding it, but I've really been trying that, and I really think they are putting nanotechnology up there, and we are breathing it in, and they are trying to get us to have this hive mind, programming as much as they possibly can at this point, but it's not going to work. I also think that some of the spraying in the air is from the white hats, and it's to stop this nanotechnology and all this other stuff that they have put already in our atmosphere.
Could be, I mean, it could be to combat it. We're gonna have to wait and see on that. I wanted to do these super chats real quick. Gloria Sears, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, read The Only Planet of Choice on archive.org, and I'm going to go into that very soon, just to check that out. Only Planet of Choice, archive.org. Thank you so much, Gloria, for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And Maddie Girl says, love you guys. God bless y'all and our great POTUS and First Lady in India. Yeah. What is it going to be? 10 million people or something like that? Maybe even more. We're going to hit the records, which is going to be incredible. And also from in other news, True Train. God bless this movement. Absolutely. If you guys want to do that, $2 True Train, I'd be super stoked about it. I would greatly appreciate it as we continue forward on this Beyond the Headlines. I want to go into that absolutely, which everyone, you can do the same. If you want to super chat your question, I'll definitely read it, and we can go ahead and go into what you want to go into. Only Planet of Choice on archive.org. So we're going to check that out real quick.
I wanted to bring up
Sure.
briefly that the bell was called die clock,
Mhm.
die clock. That's the clock
Right.
in German. So it lends itself more towards time travel, the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they named it the bell just because of the way it's shaped, but the real name of it was die clock. And that's German for the clock. So it seems like it would be a time travel thing with a name like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what that means real quick. Let's look into the word. What does the word Gluck mean? What does
Clock?
Does it really?
I think so. I took a little German in junior high school.
Oh, right.
Guten Tag, Thomas. Wie geht's? Wer ist denn das da drüben?
What? That's cool.
You're supposed to go, das ist mein Freund von mir.
I can't. Dossen my Freund von mir.
I said, Guten Tag, Thomas. Good day, Thomas. Wer ist denn das da drüben? Who is that person you're with? And then you say, das ist mein Freund und dir. That is my friend right here.
Oh my God, that is crazy. I love that. That's kind of cool.
But I think that means the clock or something.
I'm going to look it up real quick. From You're Abundant. The mind is stronger. You have the ability. God bless you, Thomas and Linda. I believe where we go, when we go all. Yeah, you should believe you're abundant. The mind is stronger. You have the ability. Of course it is. We're just we're extremely suppressed and possibly oppressed because of what circulates on this 3D realm.
To that point,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that all of these people, all of these things, these mystery schools, all these elites, all of these people who have been doing all this forever,
Mm-hmm.
Mengele, all of them, They all want to be more than human, but they just can't seem to get it right.
Glock means bell.
Oh, it does.
It means bell. So,
So I don't know. I guess they just named it after the way it looked.
right. Yeah.
But I think they still have not mastered any kind of AI or any kind of anything that even comes close to the human brain. And they hate that. So yes, we do have the power to turn their bullshit off.
Sure. It's just the bell. That's just what it's called. The bell. The Glock.
The bell.
Yep. We got some more super chats. Kanish, True Reporting, how can we find you at the Charlotte Trump rally? Ooh, very, very good question. I am putting together some True Reporting merch that I will be wearing. I'm going to be wearing a backpack. That's probably going to get thrown in the trash, but I'm getting a backpack. I'm getting True Reporting. I'm getting a hat and a t-shirt made for me to be there. So if you want to know where I'm at the rally, I definitely will be at the Charlotte rally. Either if I can, 2 days earlier, I will be in line. I will be at the very front of the line, so you guys will definitely see me holding up True Reporting on the Charlotte at the Charlotte rally. I will be down in front of POTUS, so definitely come and hang out with me. I would greatly appreciate it. That's how you can find me. I'm the guy with the True Reporting on. Divine Warrior says, we all deserve to live a life of plentiful with peace. Love you both. Absolutely. And we're coming to that. We just have to be patient. I believe that the evil with what they've created on this planet is being eradicated, and we're going to start seeing a little bit of a shift. We're already seeing it for those of us who are awake, who are realizing, hey, things aren't as bad as they used to be, right? We're seeing a lot of turmoil here. It's a lot of, vibrational, combatancy going on right now. But I believe it's going in the right direction. So just have faith, right? That's all you have to do is have faith. Just cause. My first super chat didn't get read. The free energy electromagnetic hovercraft was in France. Great deep dive, guys. So the first free electromagnetic hovercraft was in France. Great deep dive, guy. I wonder where they got that information from, just cause. Thank you so much for that super chat, all of you. I appreciate it. Definitely, guys. March 2nd, I will be at the Charlotte rally. I will be there a day before, maybe even 2. So 29th of February through the 1st, who knows? I will be in line. So come say what's up. Come chill.
This is kind of interesting.
Sure.
Are you still doing super chats?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I just found this. This is kind of interesting.
Sure.
It says, in short, Die Glock, the bell, was rumored top secret pinnacle of the Nazi Wunderwaffe war effort. This terrifying object might have escaped the world's notice were it not for an intrepid journalist called Igor Wachowski. In the year 2000, Wachowski published a book in his native Poland entitled Prawda o Wunderwaffe, or The Truth About the Wonder Weapon. In this expose, Wachowski revealed that he first discovered the existence of the device when he read transcripts of an interrogation session of former SS officer Jacob Sporenberg. Wachowski went on to say that he was provided with classified documents in relation to Nazi secret weapons by Polish intelligence officer that he refused to identify. Although he was prohibited against taking direct copies of these files, Wachowski was allowed to transcribe them. Despite the lack of solid evidence to substantiate Wachowski's claims, the groundwork he performed did pique the interest of British author Nick Cook. So he presented the story of the Nazi bell to a much wider audience. It says the bell itself was given its moniker due to the shape of the object. It was developed using a hard, heavy metal and stood approximately 3.7 meters tall, 12 feet, but perhaps as much as 4.6 meters, 15 feet, and was 2.7 meters, 9 feet in diameter at its widest point. When in operation, it was said to have a pair of counter-rotating cylinders that were filled with a violet-colored substance similar to mercury. Mm-hmm. This liquid was metallic and had the exotic name of Zerum 525. When not powering the bell, it was stored in a meter-tall thin thermos flask that was lined with lead. So it goes on to say that Zerum 525 was not the only substance used in the bell's operation. Something called light metal, was also added. And they said it might be some kind of lubricant. It says early testing of the bell was said to have proved catastrophic. Strong radiation that emitted from the device supposedly led to the deaths of several Nazi scientists and animal test subjects. So it's kind of an interesting thing, right?
Yeah, they're saying that that goes along with this, with the prize of the lot, a bell-shaped machine potentially capable of destroying everything and everyone in its path, or perhaps even altering time itself. But what happened to the secret Nazi project? Did it actually even exist? Was Hitler on the verge of using the Nazi bell to change history forever? And if so, where is it now? The bell, known as Die Glock, in German, is said to have been developed by a top team of scientists and engineered, headed by Secret Service or SS General Hans Klammer. Yeah, it was just developed by some scientists. You know, we came across this information which no other country has. Where did you get this information from? This is where our mind should be going. Don't stop. Go. But like, what the hell? Like, we need to understand, like, where are these scientists, quote unquote scientists, getting this information from, and why was Project Paperclip a thing where you bring all of these German scientists over to America to create NASA? I almost said Nazi. So it's like, you know,
yeah, and
take
also,
your mind one step further.
And also, what is this stuff? Zerum 525.
I'm about to look it up right now.
It doesn't really say it. It says it was not the only substance used. Something called light metal was used.
What?
Yeah, it's called light metal. Light metal, LEICHTMETALL, light metal was added as a lubricant. So it was a liquid. So it's those are things that are not common knowledge and that you don't hear a lot about.
No, not at all. I'm trying to look into what is light metal.
Yeah, it says at the end of the Second World War, both the Bell and its team of scientists and developers all disappeared. SS General Hans Klammer, in command of the Third Reich secret projects, also disappeared without a trace. I bet they went down to Antarctica. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it says here that within the light metal industry, various metals may be used to create a number of household goods, including casings for electrical appliances. The low atomic weight of the different metals makes them easy to use in light metal casting, which in turn aids in the mass production of a number of goods. Various metals may be used to create a number of household goods, including casings for electrical appliances. Maybe this thing was super light. Like, it says, just trying low density metals, aluminum, magnesium, titanium, beryllium, and alloys composed of predominantly of one or more of these metals. So, I mean, it's like, they're using this thing as super light. Maybe, I don't know. From what I researched, that this thing was chained down. It was chained down. And that you would go in it, and then it would spin while you were in it, and then you could, like, I guess you would go interdimensional, in travel. But if this thing's super light, magnesium, aluminum, casing, what in reality is it being used for? Maybe it was used for not just interdimensional, but actually space-time.
They've got a picture here of something called a henge. Mm-hmm. I guess having kind of like Stonehenge or whatever. It's concrete, but
sure.
The bell sat in that thing.
Really?
Thing. Yeah, it's called the henge. Here's Igor Witkowski standing in front of the henge. And I guess that's where they parked it or whatever. It's like the place where they held it, like it went in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe they didn't want it to take off or something. I don't know. But it sounds like they had a lot of problems with it, and that it, didn't work properly. It sounds like one of those things they might have tried to back engineer.
Yeah, during the last months of the World War, scientists worked long hours in an attempt to produce a Krinsenschneiden. It says here, which was thought to be a war-winning technology that would produce a stunning knockout blow. Deep in the whimsical mines underground, right? I have to show you this right now. This is kind of interesting to everyone. Guys, if you're enjoying this show, please go ahead and hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe to both our channels. I want to show you this, Linda. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
in all honesty, check this out. So it says here, that would produce a stunning blow knockout deep in the Winslas mines near Ludwikisch in Poland. Nazi SS scientists reportedly worked on an anti-gravity machine called, in quote, the Bell, a glowing rotating contraption that looked like a flying saucer and was used in conjunction with an above-ground structure known as, in quote, the hinge, which Linda was talking about. The Bell was described as a saucer-shaped device made from a hard, heavy metal that was filled with substance similar to mercury and required enormous amounts of electrical power for testing. People who worked on the project were said to have suffered from sleep problems and severe vertigo, probably because it was actually messing with our space-time continuum. The hinge, and that was from my own words, the hinge still stands today. It still stands, my friends, and I'm looking at it right now, as you can see on the top left-hand corner. The hinge still stands today, and this is an enigmatic structure that compromises of thick reinforced pillars designed to withstand extreme forces. Artist David Bickerstaff and Lukasz Salanashkowicz traveled to the site of, in quote, the hinge in Poland to document its structure and explore the hidden secrets of the Nazi Bell buried in the abandoned mines below. Why is everything in underground, guys? Can you just answer me that right now, right?
Well, I'd like to take a shot at that.
Go.
Towards the end of the war, the Germans took the war completely underground and completely underwater. And they invested all their money in submarines, and they started building what they call earthworm camps.
Sure.
That were underground. They had all over Russia.
Wow, that's interesting.
Earthworm camps, and they're in the middle of the woods, right?
Sure.
And somebody stumbled upon one of these earthworm camps. I don't know when I'm thinking it was in maybe the 70s or something. They found this earthworm camp, and they went in there and they found all these Nazi papers, right? And they found the Antarctica maps to go underground into the where the breakaway civilization is, because what they did was they found underground lakes with warm water and trees, and the temperatures, it was like an oasis up under the ice. So they have these underground places in the crust of the world. It goes down, I don't know how big the crust is, but it's big enough to hold entire underground cities.
Right.
And there was one under LA, and I think they know about all these. I don't think this is anything that's hidden from them. I think they built over these underground places so they could do all of their stuff. And it's kind of interesting because I was at the farmer's market. I had to walk down. I didn't have to, but I wanted to walk down to the farmer's market Saturday morning and get some stuff. And when I went there, I parked my car, and then I was walking, and I passed this thing, and it said Venice time capsule. And it was like a pyramid, a little obelisk right there. And it said not to be opened till 7026 or something. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then also there is a Freemason building down there that I didn't know about, that I just kind of want to, I didn't pass by it, but I do want to go look at it and see if there's a strong Freemason presence here, because
Sure.
Time capsule, what the hell is that?
Right.
But I think all of this, I think there's a reason that thing is there, that little time capsule. I think there's a reason the Georgia Guidestones are there. I think there's a reason this Ark in New York City is there, right where it is. I think every single thing they build with purpose. And they do it geographically because they know They know what's underneath. They know, where to build and where the ley lines are. And they also are familiar with the science and what to do with it. And we don't know any of this. We're walking around here like dumbasses, all the time. We're just oblivious to, like that time capsule.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, it's not our fault that we're behind in times. It's that we're suppressed, and they won't give us this technology. They keep us in the shadows, right? Somebody said earlier, secrecy equals underground. I totally agree with that. Where are you gonna hide stuff? You're gonna hide it either in space, or you're gonna hide it underground, or you can hide it right in front of us with your symbology that you've been doing. But now, because of 17, we're aware of your symbology. So now the last two places to look are where? Space and underground. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the phone lines if you guys want to call in and talk about some of this. It is I would like to stick to the topic, but if you guys have some information on some other stuff that me and Linda could research, that's cool too. But let's stick closer to the topic. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to both our channels. You can donate to the channels right now by going to our PayPals, our Patreons. McAllister TV is Linda's channel. You can also go to Linda_Paris. Just subscribe and follow her on Twitter right now. She's dropping bombs on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. If you want to hit that super chat down below instead of calling in, you can definitely do so, and I'll read your question online because we've got to get to the bottom of a lot of information. And if you want your question read, I'd be so happy to do so because the chat does move very quickly. So do what you need to do. We already have 1.3 likes. Thank you, guys. How many people are watching right now? If we have over 2,000 people watching, imagine if everybody donated $1. What a change that can make, and how much you could help out channels that are producing true information that you need to look into. This is fun. I know we get a little conspiratorial on Beyond the Headlines, but that's the point. Yeah. Don't hate.
I would also like to bring up that Q keeps telling us the answers are deep.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And are we alone? Absolutely not. And he says, think of the nearest star, right? Yeah. What the hell does that mean? The nearest star, the sun? Not too far away, and I think it's even closer than that. I think that we're misinterpreting things because of what this governmental, these government-ran schools of public schoolings teach us. We're always going to be behind, but I don't think we're going to be behind that long. And I think that what puts 99% of people in the hospital is the fact that we've been lied to on every topic that's out there. And then it's going to just flip our world upside down. And I think it's going to go a lot further than that as well. So, we shall wait and see.
I think this helps us talking about all this stuff and just throwing around these ideas and
you have to
thinking about it and like, wow, that could be happening, or, it's just about kind of trying to figure out what Q is talking about.
Sure.
All the information we already have and trying to put it together so that we're not blindsided by this thing,
I agree. Anybody who's going to call in for the show, please, I just ask you, just mute your stream and wait for me to click on you, and then I'll ask your name, and it'll go like that. So just when you call in, mute your stream. I would greatly appreciate it. Right now, caller, hello and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. What's your name and where you're from?
Hey, Thomas, it's Aaron from Tucson, Arizona. How's it going?
What's up, Aaron? How are you, man?
Hi, Aaron.
Hey. So, doing pretty good. So I'll try and stay on the topic as best I can, but
sure.
I had an experience not too long ago that I wanted to share with you now that we're talking about interdimensional travel. And Linda, I'm sure you've heard plenty of these stories, so I'll share mine so that way you can tell me what you know about these kinds of experiences. Now, so a while back, I jumped in your call-in show and I told you about how I've been doing like meditation and all that stuff and all the good things that it's been bringing into my life. Well, I've noticed if I have a really good night of meditation and my mind is free from stress and I had an actual good day, this has happened to me 3 times now. I would go to sleep, really tired, and then I would wake up at around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I still have about 3 hours left before my alarm goes off before I have to go to work. And so what happens is, as I'm drifting off to sleep, like I'm not really tired, but yeah, I can feel my body falling asleep, and my body goes into this lockdown. Like I can't move my body, and yet I'm conscious. And then after like maybe 5 to 15 seconds, like I enter a dream and I'm aware of the dream. Like I'm conscious of the dream, and it's really cool. I mean, I think that's what they call lucid dreaming, right?
It is. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. And so I'm like, holy smokes, I know I'm asleep. And so, okay, let's try something out. Can I fly? Sure enough, like I'm experiencing what it's like to fly through the air. And then anything I set to my mind to, I'm able to control. It's one of the coolest things I'd ever experienced. This happened 3 times right now. The first one was a good success. The second one, I was holding it, and then I just lost conscience, and I woke up, and this last one went really well. So now, for the sake of time, Linda, have you heard of these experiences before, and what do you know about them?
I haven't really heard of those experiences before. I mean, I'm pretty, I fall asleep, and sometimes I've had dreams, but I don't really, nothing much happens to me when I'm asleep. I pretty much sleep, but I haven't really heard of anything like this unless it's astral projection.
Yeah, I've heard of that too. So you never experience, like, if you wake up in the middle of the night and then you go back to sleep, you never feel your body go into like some kind of lockdown to where you feel paralyzed but you can't move, and then if you just let it be, you drift off into a dream where you're aware of it? You never experience that?
Well, sometimes in the morning, I wake up and then I go back to sleep, and I have really vivid dreams that way because I'm kind of halfway awake. But there's been some dreams that I have had in certain times in my life where I would have swore I was there. And I have to go over it in my mind. Like I remember every detail. And it is like, even waking up in the dream, I've asked myself, is this a dream? And I remember wondering if it was a dream in the dream.
That's lucid dreaming. That's like a thing. It's like when you're able to, like Aaron was saying, like when you have lucid dreaming, you're able to actually manipulate the dream. You're in control because you're aware of the dream. Well, how can you be aware of a dream if you're asleep? Well, a lot of people think that that's just actually a different dimension that you were in sleeping. And lucid dreaming is that area, that gray area where you're still awake but yet you're asleep. And this is where a lot of people say, you always say jumping off, these jump pads. A lot of people, that's where that takes place. You get into that mindset of that lucid dreaming that astral realm. And then that's where you can use that jump pad to go wherever you want to. It's like a form of meditation as well. It's not just with sleep, but also with meditation. It's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I stopped having dreams like that at a certain point. I haven't had a dream like that in a really long time.
You could get into that dream state, though, is what I'm saying, Linda. You can get into that through meditation, into that realm, that astral realm of being awake and asleep. And then that's where a lot of these people can connect with entities. They can do this remote viewing. It's all about that little, that small area where you are actually able to do these things. That what I think is that we're so suppressed that we say that's a bunch of garbage. That's lying. That's witchcraft. Blah blah blah. They're saying stay away from this zone because, well, why? Because it could be detrimental to you. But in reality, it's actually could probably help you out a lot. But very interesting stuff. Aaron, you were about to say something else?
No, I was just going to say, I definitely am going to keep experimenting with this, and should more interesting things come up, I'm definitely going to come back onto the show with you and Linda and share that with you, because I never thought that I would experience anything like this.
Well, I want to let you know this before you go, and then you can let me know what you think. So there's also, when you're in this realm, you're extremely vulnerable to attack and attachments. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, you're very susceptible to getting an attachment and actually bringing it back into this reality when you're in that realm.
Huh. All right, I'll keep that in mind. That's really
keep it in mind, dude. Like, now I've done a lot of research on that, so it's like that's why a lot of people like are susceptible, like let's say psychics. They're like, they get into that mindset of, if you're a medium or so forth, they're very vulnerable to being attacked and having attachments of entities, because you're no longer on that 3D realm. You're in the astral plane.
Okay. Yeah, I'll remember that. I'll look into that too. So, well, in conclusion, for the future, I won't be announcing myself as Aaron from Tucson, because now I live in Chandler, Arizona. So that's how I will announce myself the next time I call in. So
yeah, well, Aaron, we know your voice, man, and you just say Aaron from Arizona. We got you, my man.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Always a pleasure talking to you both. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Real quick, I want to do a super chat from Kathleen Gleckner. This has been a great show, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I greatly appreciate it. Both me and Linda do. Also, I know there was another one. Let me zoom back up. There's so many people in the chat. I don't need to do it that way. Right here, Lisa Pack. Thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, just be careful, Aaron, and anyone else who wants to treat it as that. You get into these meditative states, get a little dicey. You can get a little dicey, and just be aware of, we have these meat suits on, we have these physical bodies we're wearing, but once we get into that out of these, when we're in the astral plane, and you don't really know what the hell you're doing, you can get yourself into some trouble and bring something back with you.
I also wonder about military bases and stuff, and it seems like I had most of my weirdest dreams when I lived in LA.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It seems like, I don't know whether they're putting waves out there or something in certain areas like New York City, big cities like that, where, I don't know, it seems like when I moved to LA, I had a lot of really weird, strange dreams. But anyway, dreams are an interesting topic. We should maybe do a thing on that one.
I would love to. I'm going to go ahead. I agree. Dreams are crazy. We all have them. It's it's like a common, thing that we can talk about, I think we should all talk about it. Let me go ahead and take this call. Hey, welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Thomas and Linda. Who is this and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Sue, and I'm from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Sue. What's up?
Oh, pretty good. How are you doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah, as far as that dream stuff, man, I have narcolepsy. So I know all about weird dream states and dreaming awake and awake dreaming and stuff like that. Wow, I could go on and on about that. But what I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever heard of Drunvalo Melchizedek?
No.
Oh.
Well, he's like a weird hippie. He talks a lot about psychic stuff, energy stuff, the ancient Mayan stuff, the ancient Mayan calendar and all this stuff. And he does a lot of teaches you how to meditate and stuff. He says he was contacted by angels, and I don't know. He's a little weird. But one of the things that I remember him saying one time was that if you build up your astral body, he calls it the Merkaba, right? Your astral body, you have to build it up to a certain amount by meditating and connecting your heart with the source, with God. And when you do that, it builds a force field around you. And when that happens, then you can go through the portals and not get damaged by your DNA. And I remember him saying that 10 years ago. So I think it's funny you guys are talking about it now. But yeah, he said if you build your astral body, you can go through the portal and not get damaged. But of course, you have to be connected to God to do that. And these people aren't. Obviously, because if they were, they'd realize how evil they are and stop doing it, right? So,
right.
So yeah.
So tell me more about this narcolepsy.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, through my whole life, it's it's really hard to separate dreams and awake.
What?
The doctor,
That's crazy.
I sleep. I can fall asleep anywhere, anytime. Sometimes I don't realize that I'm sleeping. I think that I'm awake because I'm aware of everything around me, but everyone else sees me, I'm asleep. It's really, and it's very strange.
Say that one more time.
So-
Say that sentence one more time.
She falls asleep right away. She falls asleep like immediately. And she
Right.
thinks she's awake, but everybody else can see that you're asleep, right?
Yes. So I hear everybody. I feel like I'm participating in awake reality, but in fact, I'm sleeping. And that's one of the weird things that happens. The other thing is the sleep paralysis. What the last guy was talking about, how you're awake but you can't really move, and then dreams like start. So I've seen a lot of entities like that. I've traveled through dreams. Like the dreams are really intense and really insane. The official the official scientific explanation is that I have a deficiency of a certain chemical in my brain that regulates sleeping and awake, and therefore all of these crazy things that I see are supposedly just conjured up by my own imagination. Well, I don't know about all that.
No.
Maybe some of it is, but some of it isn't, right?
Yes.
And so like. Yeah, I've had prophetic dreams. I've had dreams where I talk to I had dreams where I've talked to like demons, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, and they try to mess with you, and I've talked to a lot of weird demons in my dreams, and they try to mess with you, right? But I'm bold, so I'm just like, you know what? F you, you're a demon. Stop talking to me. What are you doing? What are you trying to do? You're trying to mess with my mind here. And then they start shutting up. If you are being haunted or anything like that, the best thing that you can do to get rid of it is just to be confident and bold and confront it and be like, what's your problem? Why are you in my house? Why are you in my head?
Right, yeah.
Because they don't, most of them don't have any authority over the real world. The most that they can do is try to trick you into giving them power.
So do you get tired? Like, let's just say how often do you sleep at night?
Well, I usually sleep through the night. Sometimes I used to wake up a lot, but it's like, and then sometimes I wake up and I have really strange, it's like the sleep paralysis where I'm awake, but I can't move. And then I see weird
Yes.
things. And I see a lot of, they're called, what are they called? Hypnagogic hallucinate. I forget what they're called, but there's a word for it. But it's like you're seeing these strange things. But I usually sleep through the night, and then during the day, I could sleep more if I, or sometimes I'll just fall asleep if I'm sitting down. Like if there's anything that's like quiet, like if I sit down and try to watch a movie, I'll probably fall asleep. Or if I sit down in the chair and I'm particularly tired, I might just sit down in the chair and just go right to sleep, But they give me stimulants actually to keep me awake during the day, which, I have stuff to do, so I kind of need.
But you're not allowed to drive or anything like that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about driving.
No, there's no way.
I don't drive. Yeah, I don't drive right now. The doctor said that I could drive if I feel confident enough to, if I get on a good sleep schedule and stuff, and I get a time of day where, so if I drive just in the morning, I'll probably be all right. But I haven't driven in years, though.
So I'm looking this up. This is very interesting because I don't know how we got into this, but I've always. So you are deficient in hormones of something called orexin.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Or hypocretin, I think, is another name for it.
Yeah, hypocretin is a regulation of appetite and sleep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they don't even know what that is. Like, they don't even know what causes this.
No, they don't. They have no idea. I was trying to, because, I'm really into like natural remedies and natural cures and stuff. And I was trying to look for a natural cure, a natural remedy for narcolepsy. And there is none because nobody knows what the hell it is.
Right. It looks like it says it's like a miscommunication with the brain and the body. The brain and the chemical makeup of the body. Which is crazy. So have you seen, okay, so I've never spoken to anyone with this, so it's very interesting. So it's like, well, I want to get more into the conspiratorial side of this. Have you, are your dreams more vivid at night? Like when, let's say you get an 8-hour day sleep, or when you're more like you're at the grocery store and you doze off?
Well, it's really strange because like I don't have a normal like sleep awake desire. Like it's like I could feel fine and not tired at all, and then all of a sudden I'll be extremely tired and I need to fall asleep. So it's weird. It like hits randomly. But my dreams are probably the most vivid and strong at night, like in the early morning, like right before I wake up. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I just have really vivid, strong dreams all night long that continue into the day. Now, this is a very strange thing that happens. It's like I'll wake up and I'll be awake and I'll be drinking coffee or making breakfast, but my dream is still playing inside of my head. So it's like whatever I was dreaming about. Yeah, it's really weird. So whatever I was dreaming about will still just be playing like a movie kind of inside of my brain. It's really distracting.
That's I mean, that happens to me from like rarely time to time, but you know, that's are you like on melatonin or anything like that?
I do take melatonin at night to help me stay asleep. I take the extended release because I don't have a problem falling asleep, but I do kind of have a problem staying asleep. So I take extended release melatonin to help me stay asleep at night. Yeah, and then I take, it's like a version of Ritalin actually to stay awake in the day.
This is kind of trippy, but Seabass says, "Are you asleep right now?"
I don't know, maybe.
Isn't that trippy? Well done, Seabass. I like that.
That was a good one. Yeah.
But I appreciate the call. I'm glad. It's kind of interesting to. You have any questions on this, Linda, or what do you think about? You have any questions?
I really don't. I don't know a lot about it. You know, like I know a little bit about dreams. I know a little bit about sleepwalking, but like she says, it's like the common cold. You know, they don't know anything about how the common cold, you know, they don't know anything about sleepwalking. They don't know anything about narcolepsy, but apparently they know how to clone.
Right, exactly. That's yeah.
Well, they know what it is. There's a theory, and I've talked to other people with narcolepsy. Sorry. What?
Go ahead, caller.
I've talked to other people with narcolepsy who believe, and I think it might be true too, is that people with narcolepsy are actually receiving like downloads. So like we're receiving downloads from somewhere. I don't know, some other dimension, some other entities from angel, whatever. I don't know. I have no idea who.
Do you sleepwalk?
But no, I don't sleepwalk. I actually have cataplexy, so I will stop and fall over, or my leg will just go out. So I don't walk. I don't sleepwalk. I walk sleep. It's
right.
I'll be walking and then I'll fall asleep.
Right, you got the opposite effect. I get that. Caller, very interesting. I appreciate you tuning in for us, and very interesting. I'm glad you let us fill this in on this. Very cool.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, great show. Awesome. All right.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye. Real quick with a super chat, we got Sample MM. Linda, brilliant and beautiful with a side of snark. Thomas, kind, welcoming, and accepting of all. Thank you, Sample MM. Very sweet. Thank you for that super chat. Well said, by the way. Thank you, Sample. Linda, do you know anybody who I've never met anybody who has the sleepwalking effect?
I haven't, but I've covered some trials where people killed their wives.
Yeah, that's like a thing that the lawyer just tell him you were sleepwalking.
And they got off.
Yeah. That's a real thing. That's crazy. I have a big super chat real quick from the Trumpet Sisters. Says you both should think about doing a live appearance with a meet and greet together. Well, we could do that right now. I'll go wherever I need to. Tons of us would come to see you both. We love you too. X hugs and kisses. Thank you so much, Trumpet Sisters. I would gladly put something together. I was trying to. I don't think that's going to happen because there's just too many people. It's I can't get in touch with everybody. So I mean, maybe me and Linda could talk something up and do that. That'd be really cool. Yeah. We could do that. We'll go ahead and take another caller. Thank you, Trumpet Sisters. Thank you for that big super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Hello, caller. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Thomas and Linda. What's going on tonight?
Hey, Thomas. Hey, Linda. This is Chris in Alabama. How are y'all?
Hi, Chris. We're doing good.
Good. I just wanted to say quickly, those power dreams that are like movies are incredible. I had this one where it was like I was going in to see this 10-hour film, and I knew I'd be briefed on it afterwards. And it was the plot lines were so, incredible. And I felt like I was in the middle of the thing. And then when I exited the theater, I was really in the middle of the thing. We all love our dreams, don't we?
Sometimes.
At any rate, I wanted to call because on the Antarctica thing, we redid our offices at work a few years ago, about the time I was starting to get into some of that static plane stuff. And there's this big, large framed piece of artwork. I call it artwork, not cartography, but you can tell that some of the pieces came from National Geographic, because even though this is a mosaic, you can see their part of their logo and all the icons and all. But anyway, it's set in a circle of Antarctica. It's the Antarctic shape that we all know and love, but it's in the middle of this square. But the lines that represent the global shape, it's like the South Pole is not anywhere near where the lines intersect where the South Pole is. And I'm thinking, yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's a lot of mystery about this place that they're hiding from us. You get shot if you go down there. You can't go into the airspace. What the hell are they hiding down there besides, like you say, I've heard that before, that they've been lying even about Antarctica, that it's not anywhere the shape or anything that we think it is. And that there's other places too down there that we don't know anything about, other land masses.
Well, true, absolutely, I agree totally. But the thing, when The Simpsons had a scene in Antarctica, all the penguins got up and flew away. But aside from that, this piece of art was ordered from somewhere. I mean, we don't have Deck the Walls in the mall anymore. Somebody made the decision to buy this piece, and it's just it's not correct on anybody's map of the earth.
Sure, you should take a picture of this and email it to me or Linda. I would like to see this.
Yes, sir. Linda, you're great. Thomas, you're great.
Thank you.
Love your show. I'm glad I got to see it this week, and it's my #1 live stream.
Oh, well, I'm flattered. Thank you. We both are. We appreciate everybody. We have over 2,100 people in the audience.
You're both the best. You are. I've got you going on 2 screens right now, and I'll be watching you next Friday night, okay?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And follow us on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, it takes 30 seconds. Make that up.
No, I should. I'm subscribed to both of y'all. I don't tweet much.
Yeah.
But I know you've got some other callers. Thanks for your show. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you. Great caller. Very nice. Yeah. Make sure, caller, listen and take a picture of that and email it. TRUreporting1985@gmail. Definitely do that. What's that? I want to see it too. I really do. Yeah. Whoa. Loud motorcycle. What that? Okay, never mind. I didn't know what that said. All right, let's go ahead and take some more calls because we're getting some good ones here today. Again, guys, if you're enjoying this, please smash that like button and subscribe to both our channels, McAllister TV and True Reporting. I know a lot of people watch, but you're not subscribed. Do your part. I'm not bitching. I'm watching. Hey, welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Thomas and Linda. Where are you from and what's your name?
This is Kanish.
Hey, Kanish. Thank you so much for all your super chats.
Oh, thank you for your podcast. And hello, Linda. I love you too. I listen to you all the time. And this question is more directed at Linda. I was listening to one of your podcasts, and a woman called in, and she was talking about being teletransported. And at first, it struck me as, this is crazy. But then the more I listened, and all of my life I have had dreams that show me something, usually not something good, that's going to happen to me or someone that I love. And I always wake up after the dream. It's very frightening. And now I can more analyze and kind of, because I believe it's God's telling me that something, circumstances are that something bad can happen, and he's warning me.
Like foreshadowing.
So, yes. Well, I had a dream like that, or I thought it was the same type of thing. I woke up. But after I listened to this woman, I realized that I was actually teletransported. And oh my gosh, I know I sound crazy, but I was awake during the dream, and I was paralyzed. What I saw was so terrifying, and I tried to run, and I tried to scream. I knew I was right in the bathroom, and I was literally feet from someone who could help me, and I couldn't scream, I couldn't move, and then I woke up in my bed. So it was weird, and I'm glad that caller called in. I just wondered if, Linda, have you delved into this anymore?
Well, I personally, we started talking about this. I guess it started with somebody, but I'm starting to remember dreams I had. One thing I know about dreams is it's interesting that you remember them, because a lot of times when you have them and they're so real and everything, and you wake up the next day and you feel like you have a weird feeling, like something happened, and then something will hit you during the day, and you'll go, oh, wait a minute, I had a dream last night about this. And then you start to realize that whole weird feeling that you have. Like one time I had a dream about somebody that I worked with, and I had a dream that we had a really weird interaction, but then I couldn't remember what the dream was. I woke up with this really kind of funny feeling, and I went to work that day, and as soon as I saw that person, I started remembering the dream. And I was like, oh my God, I had this weird dream. And it's the nicest guy. And in the dream, he was a real jerk. He was really evil. And so I kind of had this confused feeling. But I feel like a lot of times, like after my mom died, I had all kinds of dreams about her. And I would never remember them until the next day. And it really felt like I was there. But in the dream, I was walking through, like I would be in a room, which would be our living room. And then I'd walk through a door and I'd be in a totally different place, like at the beach or something, just from walking through the door. So I've had a lot of disconnected dreams. And, I don't know, sometimes I wonder if our DNA isn't crossing over, you know what I mean?
That's crazy you bring that up. So Pay It Forward says,
well can I just say this one thing real quick to finish that thought? Because they clone people when they're in REM sleep. So the sleep is when your DNA is susceptible to being intercepted by other frequencies and stuff like that. So I just want to add that.
No, that's I didn't even so they clone in the REM sleep. That's what I'm saying, that there is something to do. Where do we go when we dream? People are like, you're just in your head, it's just thoughts from the day, it's just your brain firing. No, there's so much more to that. That's what I'm saying, is that mindset. Take it a step further. So you're not going to be crazy. Take it a step further and try and kind of figure out what this boxed in realm we're trapped in. I wanted to say this real quick from one of the people in the chat, if I can find it. Pay It Forward says, wow, imagine being dead and not being able to move forward and being forever in a bad dream. Better control your own mind. This is the thing. A lot of people, I had a conversation with my friend JC Parker 369. Follow him on Twitter at JC Parker 369. One of the smartest guys out there. We're talking about when you die, right? And people are saying, that your body is just a meat suit. It's disposable. You die. And then once you die, immediately, boom, you're back into another body. Because it says that there's a lot of this, of resurrection. There's a lot of, resurrection, reincarnation, whatever. I consider it almost to be the same thing, right? You have a reincarnation of Christ, of God in Jesus. So it's, that's what that is. I believe it. It's in Christianity. So when there's this space that where this happens, it could be a blip of an eye, a blink of an eye, a blip of a second. And you could say, well, you could be going through a day and be like, imagine if you just blipped into another timeline. You died. Let's just say you got into a head-on collision car accident. And then you're like, and then you're in another body, right? You're in another meat suit, and you're just sitting on the edge of a pool or something random, and you're like, that kind of pops in your head. You're like, I remember that happening. Like, why would I remember me dying in a car accident, or why would I remember, being on an operating table and not getting off that operating table? These things happen. So it's like, what is that realm? There's something that we're all connected to, where I believe in past lives. I believe in all that. And I believe that when you're in this sleep state, where do you go? I mean, are you still on this 3D plane? I don't think so. I think it's all kind of, whatever this collective consciousness is, whether it be source, God, whatever, we're all connected in this sort of astral ether realm where we're just kind of like souls or energy. And it's like, boom, we can zap down into something else, or we could stay up there. I don't know. What do you think about that, Linda? Am I just yapping? What do you think about all that?
Well, there is this theory that with all the messing around that they're doing with DNA and trying to transfer consciousness and stuff like that, that there are a lot of disembodied souls out there, which is really a sad thing to think about, really. That through all this technology, that there are a lot of souls out there that are wandering around not where they're supposed to be. And another thing is that there is a school of thought where we're here to learn and raise our vibrations so that we can move into another dimension that is angelic and heavenly, and that they're keeping us down here with their bull crap, their sex, look, they've invented porn, they've invented all this stuff for us, to distract us from what we're supposed to be doing. And when it's all said and done, they have all the higher knowledge and they're misusing it, and they've kept it from us. So there is this idea that people are stuck in a loop, that they can't get to the next place because that's the design of it. They trapped us here, spiritually.
Right. And I agree. Somebody said something earlier. I got to go up there and find it. That was really interesting.
I shouldn't be talking. You should be answering these calls.
No. I'm listening to you too. It's like, no, we have 3 calls. We're fine. We still have 12 minutes to go. Where was that at? That was so, I've had multiple dreams from First Lady of the America Theater. I've had multiple dreams where I'm speaking foreign languages that I don't actually speak. Tell me, how is that possible? Because I've had a dream, and I talked about this on the podcast, it might have been a live stream, that I was talking, and I don't know if you guys have had these dreams with the president, but I was actually had a dream. It was extremely vivid, and I'll make it extremely fast, that I was actually a driver. I was driving the president and Melania Trump around to a venue. I was in the Secret Service suit. They knew who I was, and Melania was speaking Russian to me, and I knew what she was saying. I was translating it in my dream and talking back to her in Russian.
What a great dream.
Slavic, rather. And this is not the first dream I've had of the president. This is like the 5th dream. And every dream that I have with the president, it's always he's always like embracing me and being like, it's okay, everything's good, keep doing what you're doing. I'm not even kidding. I'm not making any of this up. Why would I lie about that? It's crazy. I don't know.
There's so much we don't know. It's crazy.
I want to know what these dreams mean. And I know we're supposed to be talking about the German Bell craft, and now we're talking about dreams. This is open forum. This is interesting that a lot of people want to know about. And if you're having a good time, hit that like button.
And the other thing is,
sure,
I think in the end, we're going to find out all this stuff is somehow connected.
Exactly. We're all connected somehow collectively through this ether or astral realm or consciousness, something. We're all connected somehow.
I mean, even what we're talking about now, Antarctica, all of this stuff, they're cloning this technology, the, jump pads, the time stuff, that all of it is related in some way to these wacky dream states that we're in. You know, all this stuff that these people are doing is causing the atmosphere to be such that we have these dream states. And also, don't forget, they are experimenting with all kinds of technology to be able to access our brains with this nanotechnology. So that could be activated in your dreams as well.
Yeah, I agree. I want a breakdown of this. Somebody said something. I mean, I've looked into people who are, I mean, this was, you know, in the beginning of my show when I first started it, but I was researching people who were actually connecting with planets, and the planets were actually speaking back to them.
There you go.
And that is, you can look into that. That is crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and take these phone calls because we got 9 minutes left. Caller, where are you calling from? Thanks for jumping on with Beyond the Headlines. What's going on tonight? Hello? Caller, you're on the air.
I don't know how to do this.
You're gravy. I can hear you fine. Go for it.
Oh, okay. I grew up in Topeka, Kansas. I have a very strange story, and it has to do with Minigers Foundation. Have you ever heard of that?
Say it one more time. What foundation?
Minigers.
With a V?
No, with an M. Miningers.
Miningers. Okay.
Yes. It's where when I grew up, Liza Minnelli was taken there. Elizabeth Taylor. Oh man, what is her name? I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, a lot of stars, when they had their meltdown, they were taken there.
Sure.
Anyway, I had a boyfriend that lived on the mountain right next to this mental institution. And he and I were, and it was my first year in high school, and he and I were going to build a treehouse. So the railroad, it's right by this railroad, which is right by the river. He went one way, I went the other. And I go into the Miniger Foundation property. I pass this fence, and I'm probably about 200 feet in, and then another 50 feet, maybe 20 feet closer to the institution. And what I see is this horse coming down this fence, and there was a 13-foot white-looking lizard. It was very linky. The horse was huge. Now, perspective, I was my first year in high school. And this lizard was so linky, his feet kind of drug the ground, but his face was like a crocodile as opposed to an alligator. And his skin, I mean, he looked white, but he was also kind of clear. You know how plastic, you can kind of see through, and you can see veins and stuff.
Yes.
And anyway, I saw this, and where I was, there was like nowhere to go. Because this thing was on a horse, and it saw me, and it looked at me, and I'm telling you, I knew what it felt like to be a rabbit and having a fox or something after it. And I just froze. I did not know what to do. So this guy, this entity, well, was physical. It wasn't ethereal or anything. Anyway, it goes down the fence. It comes towards the railroad track, and it slithers down the back of the horse. And it was totally after me. But it took its time. And as it comes around to the front of the horse, I kid you not, two men came out from behind the horse. Like they just appeared. They came out from behind the horse. They looked at the lizard thing and told it to get back up on the horse. And then one guy came up to me, and he walked me off of the campus. And then he told me, and he walked me back over to the field where it was clear. There was a lot of trees where we were. So he walked me over to the field, and he said, "This place is dangerous. I don't want you ever to come back here again." And I was shaky. I didn't tell anybody because it was too weird. I knew they'd think I was crazy. Oh, and the other person was Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
So
I actually heard about that there was this place up there. I didn't know the name of it. I just wrote it down when you said it, but I did know there was a place up there. Is this up in the hills?
Well, it's kind of like there's a river through there that goes, I think it's the Kansas River. It's the one that creates the border above Kansas City, that makes it not a square or a rectangle. But that river, believe it or not, has a railroad track right next to it that goes to Fort Riley. And I had a friend who did facial recognition, and it turns out Marilyn Monroe was actually a guy who was in the military at Fort Riley.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of trans investigations on Marilyn, and it's pretty clear that it was a guy. The other thing I wanted to say and comment to your story is you would not believe how many people talk about these 13-foot lizards. All scientists, former military, was a bunch of people down that got trapped down in Antarctica inside the ice they disappeared for like 2 weeks or something. When they came back out, they weren't talking. And one of the guys later on who was stuck down, went down to go get them, to look for these scientists that got lost in the ice. He talked about a 13-foot lizard. William Tompkins talks about 13-foot lizards. All of these former military and people who have been down there, they all talk about these deep underground bases. You get so far, and these giant, just what you said. And the thing that I found out is that they could be AIs. They could be AIs that were developed. But
all I know is they were scary. I mean, it was so scary. Its eyes like pierced through. It looked at me like dinner.
Like organic.
Like it was hungry.
AIs. Like organic AIs. Like they look like organic creatures. They're not robots or anything, but they're not. They're not real. They're AIs. I don't even know how to say it.
Very strange caller. I appreciate your call. I gotta get to 3 more, and then we're gonna wrap. We have 3 minutes left in the show.
Okay, bye.
All right, we'll see you. Thank you for the call. Thank you, Kenesha. I appreciate it. Very nice. Guys, if you want to support the show, definitely do so by going to the Super Chat, PayPal, or Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to hit up the last 3 callers very quickly. You have literally a minute, so go for it, caller. What's your question?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I'm calling in reference to not a dream, but a real life experience.
Okay.
And my name is Mary.
Hi, Mary.
And I was living in Utah, and it was around 3:00 in the morning. I was fast asleep, but something woke me up, and it was licking my left side of my face. It was a gigantic tongue, and but I'm blind from my left eye, so I couldn't see what was licking my face. And because I believe in Jesus Christ and I know that He's my Savior, I had no fear. But since I couldn't see what was licking my face, it just it was lapping my face like a dog lapping your face. And I said, what is this? And I couldn't move. I wasn't fearful, but I was laying down on my right side and I just could not move. I even tried to open my mouth to call on Jesus, and I couldn't.
Do you think it's a demon?
Okay. I believe it was a demon, but I'm going to say I'm thinking it was a lizard because something else happened in the meantime. So I heard the Holy Spirit speak to me and said, you know what to do. I said, I do. He said, block your mind. I blocked my mind, and then I kept on feeling the lick. And then all of a sudden my mouth opened and a gigantic egg came out of my mouth, and then it closed, and I tried to talk and I couldn't. And then another egg came out, and I smelled sulfur, and I saw the 2 eggs lying in the air. And then I said, I don't know who you are, but in the name of Jesus Christ. And I sat up in the bed, and my whole face was like an inch thick of egg white.
Oh my God.
I went to the bathroom, and then I thought, what is this? So for 3 days, I slept with my light on. On the 3rd day in the morning at 6:00, I woke up out of a deep sleep again. And then I looked at my phone because I always check to see what time it is. It was 6:00. And you know how we have screens on our phone that just kind of pop up?
Yeah.
Well, there was a picture of me sitting at the end of my bed. And I was looking at it. I said, how can that be? I'm the only one in my bedroom. I have a little single twin bed. And how can I have a picture of me? How can I take a picture of myself on the edge of my bed? So what they did, it cloned me. I know there is another one of me somewhere out there, or two, that are roaming around, and I'm assuming they're evil. And
well, if they're not you, then they're a copy. They're probably not good for the rest of us. Caller, I'm sorry, I've got to let you go. This is the end of the show. I don't want to go in, and I'm going to let Linda comment on this, but I thank you for the call and the support. Thank you so much. Real quick, I got to get to these super chats real quick, and then I'm going to end with Linda, okay? It says here, William Fox, Jesus is King of Kings. Keep praying, everyone. I totally agree. Mikey D, what's up? He says, go to source and quote, God, you are in control, even in death. The light is a trick to keep you trapped on this planet. I've said that many a time on this podcast. Jess Rodriguez says, hey, Linda and Thomas, continued. Thank you for all that you do. Linda, did you get my Red Pill Living ad I made? I tweeted it to you last week. I can see why you have so much fun making these videos. Absolutely.
I'll look at my tweets.
What's that?
I'll look at my tweets.
There you go. There you go. Then we could see real quick. Maggie Bouvet, thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Ellen McDonough. This is my favorite show. Keep up the good work, both of you. Thank you, Ellen. That's so sweet of you. I greatly appreciate it. Linda, I know we're 2 minutes overboard. It got away from me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? This actually morphed into a whole array of topics. But this lizard business, I believe in these lizards. I do. I believe it.
Me too.
How could so many people see these things and they not be real?
I agree.
The whole reptilian thing, and they're always trying to tell you what to think about it. You go to a video about anything reptilian and they come up.
I agree.
They want to push they want to tell you what to think about the reptilians. There's something going on here. There's something to this. I don't know what it is yet, but these lizards, these people, I don't believe are making this stuff up. I really don't. So I believe you.
Oh, yeah. Great callers tonight. I want to thank all the callers tonight, everyone who donated, everyone who left a like. Make sure you go check out Red Pill right now for the Cozy Show, the Sunday Cozy Show with Methods. It's always a good one, so definitely check that out. I will talk to all of you. Thanks to the mods. Thank you so much, Linda. You can follow us at TRUreporting. You can follow Linda at Linda_Parrish. She's dropping bombs on there. I follow her very closely. And go to her YouTube channel and subscribe right this second. McAllister TV. Linda, thank you so much. I hate to cut the show off, but I don't like to go into other people's timelines timeline. So guys, thank you so much. I will talk to you all. Linda will talk to you all, and we'll see you next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you all have a beautiful Beyond the Headlines, lines. I will talk to you guys later. Have a beautiful time. Go check out Red Pill right now, and have a beautiful evening. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.